Hello, fellow runners, or if you stumble on this channel and you're just looking for information on the Dexter to Ann Arbor half marathon. I just got back from that. It's a Monday as I record this, and the run took place on Sunday morning, so it was yesterday. I've never done a running review on this channel. I don't have many followers and I don't do much with the channel, but I thought this might be kind of fun. Maybe partly fun just to kind of get this off my chest, or if you stumble upon this and you want to know about the race, maybe a recap or information if you want to do the race in the future. I can kind of go over my experience. It was the first time I've ever run this event. And so if you stumble upon this channel and you find this interesting, thanks, and happy running, or maybe future running, or whatever your interest may be. Um, so the Dexter to Ann Arbor half marathon is what I participated in. They also have a 10K and a 5K. Those were completely separate for the most part, although the post-race party, everybody seemed to come together, but the half marathon was in its own completely separate area. You know, sometimes running events, they'll have all different distances at the same place. Maybe they have different starting times. This was for the half marathon. What we did was started out and you take shuttle buses. They were actual school buses from downtown Ann Arbor. The first one left, I was actually on the first bus. So what I did was parked in a parking garage in downtown Ann Arbor. Parking was free on Sundays, by the way. So that was a nice bonus, because a few weeks ago I parked in Grand Rapids for a run and it was $20 just for the morning to park. So free parking for yesterday that I went to on the Sunday in Ann Arbor in a parking garage was a nice little bonus. You don't really, it's not always fun to get done with a run or whatever you might be doing and you get a $15, $20 or more parking bill. Sometimes it just comes with the territory, but that was nice. So I arrived in downtown Ann Arbor and I got to the bus about just after 6:15. I think the first bus was there. We left at about 6:20 and we got to Dexter just after 6:30, which was actually super early considering that the half marathon didn't start until 8:30. But I'm always an early bird in things. It's nice to get somewhere, park, get to where you need to go, and then you can relax. And the great part about getting there early was that all the porta johns and the space, there was space in porta johns. There weren't very many people there at the very beginning, so that was really nice to be able to kind of just do what you want and relax. So if you're not, let's go back for a second. If you're not familiar with the area, I know you most likely know of Ann Arbor because of the University of Michigan. So it's a pretty good sized city, but the downtown is very, it's kind of compact in a way, but it's well known for being the University of Michigan. Dexter, which is 14 miles away, is a really nice, small, it's its own town. It's got that small town feel to it. Some really nice neighborhoods and stuff. And so the distance between Ann Arbor and Dexter works out perfect for the half marathon. So, like I said, Ann Arbor to Dexter, it's about 14 miles. So we took the shuttle bus to Dexter. Like I said, we arrived, and I was with the earliest people there. There is a bag drop there. Um, we went to it was a school. It was a school campus that we went to there in Dexter. There was a bag drop for people that wanted to utilize that. I didn't need it because I went from my car to the shuttle bus. I took some gels in my pocket and had everything that I needed. That was all I needed because I knew that there was going to be water and anything we needed um, along the route. So as we were relaxing, we went inside the school. You could use the restrooms. Some people could warm up in the outside. There was plenty of room to move around. And more and more buses started to come, and more people started to come. It was a really good idea to get there early because by the time some of the later buses arrived and people were waiting in long lines to use the porta johns and the bathrooms inside the school. By the time a lot of those people arrived, 7:30 or so, I was already kind of warming up and I was ready to go. Actually, it was a beautiful morning in Ann Arbor. Perfect. Actually, it was cool enough in the morning to where it would have been actually nice to start even earlier than the 8:30 start. But throughout the entire run, I was not warm at all. So, like I said, a lot of the later buses arrived and they were all waiting. I like to arrive early at places, like I said. And by the time those people came, it got really crowded. There were 2,176 half marathon participants. And like I said, that was all that was there at the starting line at the school. The other races took place, the 10K and the 5K took place closer to Ann Arbor. I don't know, they were in a different location. So at the starting line, there was only the half marathoners. That was kind of nice. It was a great crowd. Like I said, it was 2,176 people. And what they did was to ease the congestion, they said, okay, we're going to let you guys decide by your pace time where you want to be, where you want to line up at. And they said that we'll have 3 separate waves. So unlike a lot of other races that I've been in, you weren't necessarily assigned a certain wave. And it was kind of nice. I was figuring I'm about 2 hours or just under 2 hours. So that was what I kind of got in that group, which was the second group. I kind of wanted to just relax and take it easy. There was no need for me to be in that front wave. Let them go, and then I was just kind of relaxed. And I think I found the perfect pace time for me personally in like the 155 or so. And so they did 3 different waves. Did the national anthem, of course. There was music and water and Gatorade at tables before the run right there on the school campus. A ton of porta johns. Of course, it got really crowded. Luckily, I was all set and didn't need to get in those long lines. But they did a really good job there at that school of having anything you needed there. So you had porta johns, bag drop, water. The starting line there was plenty of room for everybody. I went off with the second wave, like I said. So the 155 is what I was kind of thinking. But when I run, I kind of go with what feels good for myself. You know, if you're feeling really good, I'm not focused on I have to follow this time. That's not what I did. I was kind of going with how my body felt, you know. But that was around the time, that 155 pacer or so was around the time that I was running in. So you start off the run, and we started off at 8:30. It was a beautiful sunny morning. It wasn't too warm, but it was not chilly at all. You start off in Dexter, like I said, and it starts off in, you run kind of through neighborhoods to start. Beautiful, beautiful neighborhoods. You know, when you start, the first thing sometimes people are thinking about when I think about a route is it, you know, if there's going to be hills. Now, the word hills, that could be subjective. We're in Michigan. It's not necessarily, you know, anything too crazy. We're not talking about, you know, going up a mountain or anything. Obviously, it's Michigan. At least it's in Southeast Michigan. So we started off, and there was a slight uphill around the first mile. I really didn't think it was much of anything. I think it was started out fairly flat. It was a slight uphill, but along the route there were already people cheering. There was good crowds along the way the entire time, but then there were stretches where you're running kind of out in the rural areas where there's a lot of trees and just nature, and there weren't people in a lot of those places, but it was really peaceful. You're a lot of times you're running along the Huron River, and a lot of times you can actually see the river. It's either to your left or right, depending on what stage of the run we were in. There were ample water stations and porta johns for everyone. 9 total water stations. There were 9 total porta johns. I think I had the porta john number right. I counted. I think there were 9. I did not have to use them, but it was great to know that those were available just in case. So you were not going to go too far without coming across a porta john, water, and Gatorade at these stops. And a lot of times they had them separated pretty well. Who's got Gatorade, who's got water. There was at least one place that had gels. I did not pick up any gels. I carried my own, although I only used one at the very beginning, and I was planning on I could use up to 3 if I needed it. I just didn't feel like I needed it until the very end. So let's talk about get back to the crowd. There was a lot of spots where there were a lot of people, and it was really fun. Great energy. I love when there's spectators along the route. That's a lot of fun. So a lot of people came out for that. That was great. The aid station's so well stocked. Thank you to all the volunteers and all the people that were out there. That was a great work done by them in so many ways. An event like that does not happen without people working and volunteering at those stations. So thank you to those people out there. So get back to what people are talking about, or what people sometimes ask about and they wonder about, are the hills. It's Southeast Michigan, so it's nothing too crazy, but there was a decent amount of elevation. So trying to remember where the spots were that I remember there being hills. So around 4.5 miles in, I remember hills there. I remember a hill around 4 and 5, somewhere in there. There was that's when I noticed elevation climb, a little bit of climbing. It's all paved. They had a entire road from Dexter to Ann Arbor closed off, so there was not any vehicles or anything. That was kind of nice. So we had the run of the road. It was smooth, paved. It was just easy as far as footing, and I mean the road was just beautiful. Plenty of trees along the way for the most part. So you had areas where there were shades. Um, we went through some neighborhoods around. I'm trying to think of where because after the start, after we got through some neighborhood areas, then I'm thinking maybe uh, mile 3, 4. It's hard to remember, but we looped around a neighborhood, and the cool thing with that was there were a lot of people that were just out in their driveways or along the streets and in beautiful neighborhoods. I mean, really nice houses, beautiful views, the a lot of great nature, and it was just really nice running through these neighborhoods. So we looped around that neighborhood. And the interesting thing about that is, as as the group that I was with, as we were approaching this loop in the neighborhood, the really fast first wave runners were coming at us to our right. So what you did was you're on the left as you're approaching, you loop around. Sorry, I got my finger in the picture there. You loop around, so the faster runners and the runners that started in the first loop were coming around to our right. So we got to see them. So it's not out and back, but you know how when you're running a lot of races like a 10K or 5K, and they do the turnaround, and the lead runners are coming at you. It felt like that in a way. So it kind of gave you an idea of, okay, how long are we going to be looping around this neighborhood? And it was interesting. I like seeing the runners that are really good, because it can be really impressive. You're like, man, am I close to this turnaround or not? Depending on your speed. And so you see these elite runners, and that's really fun. I think it's impressive to see people that are out in front and can be the first finishers. We're all important out there. I'm not saying that I don't really care necessarily about I care about my time, but it's not the most important thing. I want to enjoy my run out there. So you come out of that neighborhood, and I think we got more into rural stretches again, and I believe, I'm trying to think of, there were a lot of forests, woods areas, and eventually, once you get closer to Ann Arbor, around mile 11 maybe, is when you really start to see the river. It's the Huron River, and it was to our left by this point. Every mile was marked with a flag, a giant flag. They gave you the mile marker. So that was really nice, so you could keep track of where you're at. If you're not using your smartwatch, or you're not looking at a smartwatch or anything, you could see the flags, and that gave you a good idea. Okay, you know where you're at, and that was kind of fun actually in some ways. So as you're approaching Ann Arbor, there was a hill, if I remember right, around mile 12. By around mile 11, I did feel like I started to slow down a little bit, just I think, obviously it's kind of natural. You're excuse me, you're almost to the finish. And I was kept thinking to myself, okay, we've got to be getting close to Ann Arbor. And the funny thing is by, I think it was around mile 12 or so, I thought that we get to a point once you reach the Ann Arbor city limits where I was like, I just drove in here yesterday. And speaking of that, I came in on a Saturday. I didn't mention the expo. I should have mentioned the expo at the beginning and what I did for my weekend. I'll put that at the end. If you're still watching this or you stumble upon this, I'll get to the expo and that sort of thing. I just totally didn't think about it. I jumped right into the race. Um, but anyway, so you're approaching Ann Arbor, and I think it's around maybe mile 11 or so that if it's not 11, I know it's 12 for sure, that you see a sign for Ann Arbor and you know that you're approaching Ann Arbor. And like I said, I thought to myself, I just drove on this stretch coming into the city the day before. Um, so we get to mile 13. You go underneath a bridge. I don't know if it's a bridge that, I think it was the highway goes over it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the highway went over it. And then the mile 13 stretch is a slow incline. It's not sharp. It's just an incline. It felt like it lasted forever. It was super slow. And I did not do well on that last mile. I definitely did not do well. And there were people that, I don't know if they saved up their energy or what the deal was, but I was definitely getting past on that last hill. And that last hill for mile 13 just seemed to last forever. But I reached the finish line, and huge crowds of people there at the finish line. Great people, music, obviously refreshments, all sorts of refreshments, pizza, beer, non-alcoholic beer, any type of uh, like a water, Gatorade. There was fruits and different things. They had a DJ playing. It was quite a party in downtown Ann Arbor for the finish. The medal, as you can see on my screen, the medal was beautiful. It was just a really great time. I stuck around for a little while just to take in the atmosphere. I live about a little over an hour away from Ann Arbor, so I stayed for a little while and then I wanted to head home. Like I said, I did not mention the beginning of my weekend, so we're kind of I'm going in the wrong order here, but we'll jump back. So there is an expo on Saturday, and they prefer you to pick up your bib on your race packet and stuff on Saturday. Reading the instructions, if you cannot pick it up on Saturday and you want to pick it up on Sunday, you can pay a fee. I don't know what the fee was, and you can pick it up on race day. But I think to minimize congestion and problems, they want you to pick up your race bib on Saturday, and that was at Chrysler Arena, on that's where Michigan basketball is. That's where they play, right next to the Michigan football stadium. If you're familiar with Ann Arbor and the Michigan Athletic Campus and stuff. So the expo was at Chrysler Center. Like I said, where the U of M basketball plays. I went on Saturday. I figured that I would get a hotel room so I could relax for the night. I wouldn't have to get up as early to drive over. It's more relaxing on your body to get a hotel room. I stayed in a hotel by Briarwood Mall. It was only like 4 miles away, or is something really close. No, it was a little over 2 miles away from Chrysler Center, about 4 minutes, or I mean, I don't know about minutes, but a little over 2 miles away from Chrysler Center's the hotel that I stayed at. So I stayed there on Saturday. I went to the Chrysler Center Saturday afternoon when I got into town. The expo looked like it had quite a few vendors there. The Ann Arbor Running Company was heavily involved in this, obviously. And also Dave's Running, which is Northern Ohio, Toledo area, not far at all from Ann Arbor. I've actually participated in one of their events in Northern Ohio before. So Dave's Running, there was some other vendors there. I did not spend a lot of time looking around there. I really wasn't planning on buying anything, especially when you look at like the hoodies and shirts and stuff, and they're just, of course, at the expo, it's extremely expensive. It would have been nice to come home with some sort of commemorative souvenir or something, but I really didn't shop around too much. I picked up my packet, just the bib and shirt, and went back to my hotel. Got some pizza and relaxed for the afternoon, and then like I said, Sunday morning I got back to downtown Ann Arbor about 6:15, got on a shuttle bus, and that was my day. So I hope if you stumble upon this and maybe you are looking to run in the Dexter Ann Arbor half marathon, or like I said, they have a 10K and a 5K as well. Not running in those events. I'm not quite sure about like the starting lines and anything along the lines of that. I just know from the half marathon that I was in, so that was the information that I can give you. So I would highly recommend running in this if you're in the area. It was a great crowd, great people. It was well run. I mean, well organized. They definitely know what they're doing. It's been around for a long time. I think it's the early 80s or maybe even earlier than that. This run has been going on. You can tell they're well organized. I'm thinking about maybe doing some more running reviews. I really enjoy watching people like Kafuzi and Life in Stride and Ioana and Believe in the Run, when all those people do like recaps on their race weekend and stuff. I just don't really like being on camera, and I don't think that I really need to be on camera, although I like watching those guys. So I just have a very amateur little setup here at all. I don't need much, and I don't have much. So if you happen to have interest in this run and you want to do it, I hope that maybe some of the information was helpful. I hope I didn't leave anything out. I don't think that there's a lot that I can talk about. Playmakers is my local running store up the street, and I like to I have a Playmakers bandana, and it's kind of funny because around mile 4, one of the people in the crowd, this woman, she yelled, yeah, let's go Playmakers. So that was kind of fun to get hyped up. But if you're a runner, I hope that you enjoyed this, and happy running to you. It's my hobby. It's my weekend hobby. And like I said, maybe I'll do some more of these videos. Maybe until next time, I hope you found this interesting.